Good morning or afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another weather forecast. I hope you guys are all enjoying your wonderful pre-Thanksgiving day. And I have a very interesting and as well pretty exciting upload. We are seeing a ton of confidence in an upcoming Clipper pattern, acting as a nor'easter for the Great Lakes and as well for portions of the Northeast, including Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, and those big cities along I-95. We are watching possibly for our first snow and significant snow for the coastal Northeast and as well for portions of the coastal Mid-Atlantic. So we're watching out for some dangerous travel, post-Thanksgiving travel on Sunday and Monday, as well watching out for extremely significant other cold fronts moving in as well ahead of this system. But before we get in the video, I would recommend you guys subscribe to the channel, smash that like button and bell icon if you are new. But without further ado, let's get in the forecast. So here's a look latest of the 500 millibar height anomaly with the latest 12D GFS, which actually is just in range for this snowstorm. So obviously right now we're going to start seeing this ridging pattern start to make its way into the eastern United States for today and tomorrow. So we're going to start still going to be seeing some cold overnight lows, but some pretty warm over day highs. We're going to be seeing some 60s once again across the southeast. Still going to be pretty cold across the northeast. Highs will stay across the 40s, but again, still going to be seeing a ridging pattern bringing in slightly warmer air for a brief time period. That's going to allow for a more, I guess, pleasant weather compared to the weather we've been seeing yesterday and today. But a trough moves in. It's going to be the second trough of the week. You can kind of tell the main area of low pressure is going to be kind of to the north of the Great Lakes. Going to be seeing some potential for some lake effect snow around this area of low pressure, as there's going to be a pretty significant cold front attached to this. And you can kind of tell there's the main area of that really cold air, and it's going to be more of an open wave trough. Again, it's going to really dip across the Great Lakes, so it's going to be seeing some pretty significantly cold air across that vicinity. But by basically Friday morning, so Black Friday morning, this cold air will once again arrive across very early in the morning across the eastern United States, and by basically mid-morning, you're going to be seeing this really cold air now really invading portions of the upper Great Lakes as well as portions of the northeast. Cold air is going to be all across the eastern United States as far south as Florida, but obviously the more significant, really cold air, that's where the actual steep low pressure is going to be basically right here where you'll be seeing a chance for some significant rainfall, as well for some very significant lake effect snow, and as well in the higher elevations. But going to see some really cold air. And as we now go towards later Friday, this low pressure is going to really steepen up here. Going to be seeing extremely strong area of low and lower pressure. And this is going to be a really significant system. Going to be seeing, I'm talking probably going to be seeing some single digits. And as well, seen all across the northeast for overnight lows across Friday, Saturday, and as well in towards Sunday. But by Saturday, this main area, this main first trough out of this system is going to move out mainly towards the Nova Scotia area, but still going to be seeing some really cold air all across the eastern United States as well I-95 corridor, and going to be seeing some weaker ridge into the central United States. And as we now go towards Sunday, you think it's over, but a second trough attached to this front is now going to dip once again, but further south, we're now toward the Mid-Atlantic, towards the Carolinas, as well, and towards portions there of the overall deep southeast. But look, by Sunday, we're missing a lot of moisture advection with this low pressure. Missing a lot of moisture advection from the Gulf of Mexico as well, and then you're going to be seeing that really significant cold front stretching all the way down to the Gulf Coast, and it's going to be bringing in some really good chances for a snowstorm. This is a perfect pattern for a snowstorm. Look how significant that trough is, just staying and stalling across the northeast. We are going to be seeing, and I mean extremely really cold air. However, there's going to be a little problem that this front, this area of low pressure, is going to be moving so quickly, acting like a clipper, that there's a chance this cold air may lag to the point where a lot of this snow is going to be a little bit more towards the upper northeast and as well the Great Lakes. And there is still a really good chance for some coastal snow, but it's definitely still not guaranteed because of if this cold front does lag. But other than that, really significant cold air moving in. I mean, you can see those greens, going to be seeing extremely cold air with a lot of moisture. So definitely could very well see a really good snowstorm pattern for all across basically all across this area. But obviously right now we're still seeing below average temperatures across the eastern United States, specifically across the southeast, where we're experiencing anywhere from 10 to around 14 degrees below average. But as we now go towards tomorrow morning, we're still going to be seeing below average temperatures, but it's going to be a little bit more closer to average, around maybe 6 to 7 degrees below average, with that upcoming ridging. Like I said, there's going to be a very brief ridging pattern. It's going to make its way towards the eastern United States by really much of Thursday and Friday. But as we go towards now, obviously by Friday morning, if we go to Friday morning, that first trough now makes its way into the United States, and it's going to bring us some really cold air across the the Midwest on Friday. Going to be seeing a really more of a dry cold for much of the Mid-Atlantic and Central United States for Black Friday morning, around 14 to around 16 degrees below average. But of course, still going to be seeing a slightly warmer temperatures across the eastern coast as this ridge is going to be quickly moving out of the way as this first trough is going to be pushing up very quickly. So going to be seeing a brief day or so of around 7 to 8 degrees above average. But obviously, thankfully, with this trough moving in, it's going to really kick that high pressure up very quickly, or rather quickly. And there it is now by basically Friday evening, we're going to be seeing a completely different pattern from basically Friday morning, the same around 12 degrees above average. Now basically 16 degrees below average, so really cold air moving in once again for the eastern United States for Friday into Saturday morning. And then of course, at that point, that main area of low is going to be, or main steeper area of colder air is going to be basically more towards the northeast, going to be seeing around 20 to 25 degrees below average. But as you thought it was over, a second cold front moves in by Monday, and that's going to be the very good timing for this snowstorm, as we're going to be seeing a perfect area of low pressure kind of attached with that cold front, and obviously with that really strong, of course, trough moving in, area of steep low pressure, we're going to be seeing areas of around 11 to 20 degrees below average. So we're going to definitely be seeing a pretty good chance for some really cold temperatures all across the all across the Northeast and overall Ohio Valley, including the Northeast coast. So we could very well see a chance for some really good opportunities for some decent coastal snow, including New York City. Again, that cold air is still the timing is going to definitely still be, have to be figured out as we get a little bit closer. However, other than that, it's going to, it looks good for an overall good pattern, but I'm going to go ahead and refresh so we can get an overall whole look at the 12Z, because I know the 12Z still hasn't completely gone in range for this storm. So we go now back to where we were looking at. Again, it's going to be Monday and then into Tuesday. This cold air really once again invades the eastern United States, taking around 11 to 13 degrees below average all across New England, to basically all the way across the eastern United States, including Alabama and Georgia. And as we now go later on, eventually towards later into Tuesday, and then eventually towards Wednesday, that cold air is going to continue to remain all across the Northeast. So basically be seeing some really cold air all across this vicinity for a while. As we now look at overall the temperature difference, so obviously here are the morning lows we saw today, below freezing all the way down to Atlanta, and as well some good teens in the upper Adirondacks. But the highs today will get pretty warm. We're going to be seeing some mid-60s as far north as Missouri and Kansas. Going to be seeing as well upper 40s and even 50s getting as far north as portions of Wisconsin, which is definitely pretty much above average, because that's where that's where going to be the area of high pressure is going to be remaining. And obviously today we are still going to be seeing rather below average temperatures. Still going to be seeing some highs in the 40s and 50s across the southeast, within the Gulf Coast and the lower 70s. But as we now go to tomorrow morning, notice how the overnight lows tomorrow morning are going to be a little bit warmer, not getting below freezing down into the southeast, only in the higher elevations, and barely getting below freezing across portions of the upper northeast. But notice how we have that really extremely steep temperature gradient in the Midwest, and that's going to be the first. This is going to be the first cold front moving in as early as Thanksgiving. So it's going to be really cold Thanksgiving for the Midwest. Going to be getting into the teens, and what that means is basically now this ridging has pushed eastward, meaning that trough is now pushing eastward. So that trough is going to be staying basically into the Midwest, while this high pressure is now going to be stalling for basically Thursday. which is obviously tomorrow across the eastern United States. So we're going to be seeing rather warm highs across Thanksgiving for much of the southeast and eastern United States. Thanksgiving will be the warmest day this week, which is actually not too shabby. I wouldn't complain about that. Going to be seeing some 60s all the way as far north as Arlington, Virginia. And the highs are going to be pretty warm across the northeast into the lower 50s across New England. And then notice how the highs are going to be really, really cold across the Midwest. And that is where that kind of cold front is going to be kind of moving in. So there is that area of trough kind of really ejecting across the Great Lakes. And obviously, eventually, it's now going to make its way in towards, basically quickly making its way to the east by Friday morning. So here are the lows on, basically waking up Black Friday. You're going to be seeing some teens in lower 20s all across the Midwest. And now these temperatures are going to be quickly, really cooling down across the southeast. I'm going to be seeing some 20s and below freezing as far as south as Arkansas. Really good, really cold air across the Indiana and Ohio Valley general vicinity. You're going to be seeing as well as cold air. So this overall trough is now going to be ejecting basically as far south as Tennessee, and then ejecting towards the northeast. And you're seeing that really strong southwesterly winds. So here are the overall highs on Friday. So the highs actually will be pretty cold across the southeast. Actually, gonna be seeing highs into the 40s in Georgia, even highs into the lower 50s across Louisiana. So it's gonna get pretty cold as well. Highs not getting out of the 30s in some portions of Tennessee. So it's gonna definitely be pretty significantly colder on Friday, even midday, as this front continues to push eastward. So it's eventually gonna get colder as we go throughout the day, instead of throughout the night. So it's going to be definitely, as you guess, going to be very cold on Saturday morning across these areas. And get now below freezing once again for the southeast. Once again, now seeing this trough, that main area of low pressure is going to be to the north. Like I said, it's going to be north of the Great Lakes. So that's where that main steep area of low is. And then here's the overall ejection of this trough going as far south as Georgia and the Carolinas. So that's where we're going to be seeing negative digits across portions of Ontario, but really cold there, specifically across the northeast. So going to be seeing some overall teens in lower 20s. That's well going to get some pretty cold air for New York City. And then as we now go towards later on to Sunday, that's where this cold air really pushes in that second cold front. Going to now be seeing basically really cold air all across the northeast here. So definitely not going to have to worry about any really cold air for much of the northeast, as this cold air is definitely going to be in place. Going to be seeing really multiple areas of teens, as well multiple areas of those mid-20s. But as we continue now into really later Tuesday into Wednesday, going to be seeing now some really, really cold temperatures. Not going to be seeing some lower 20s across New England and the coast. Going to be getting some, probably going to get some single digits across New England. So this cold air is definitely going to be there. So we're going to be possibly watching out for some portion to be seeing some really fluffy snow in some areas closer to the actual low pressure. We're going to be watching out for some really wet, heavy snow. So as we now look at the overall frontier and the overall MSLP, so like I said, as you can tell, the high pressure is not going to be in place across the southeast here, the southeast ridge, and then that trough is going to be ejecting at this point tomorrow across the Midwest, and that's where we're going to be seeing some rain along that cold front to the east of that cold front towards that. Basically, you're going to be seeing that along that warm conveyor belt. That's where you're going to be seeing a lot of that rain, where that warm conveyor belt is basically to the east of that cold front. So we are going to be seeing a pretty washed out morning on Thanksgiving for areas to the east. So thankfully there is going to be an area of high pressure across the southeast, because that is going to allow for a rather dry Thanksgiving day and as well morning. But as this cold front obviously quickly moves now to the east, by basically Thanksgiving evening, this rain will start to make its way now towards the Gulf Coast, towards all across the eastern United States, and then this rain will eventually make its way by Friday early morning around midnight across Georgia, across West Virginia, down to the Gulf Coast. And then that's where the main area of low pressure is. So it's going to kind of be lagging behind. That's where the cold front's going to be. So that's where you see that warm conveyor belt. Basically, that's where all that rain's going to be. And that's why it's going to be so dramatically cold and extremely different on Friday morning for the southeast and eastern United States. We're going to be going from a rather warm Thanksgiving to a really cold, basically Black Friday day. I mean, we're going to be seeing the main area of low pressure is not going to slightly push its way to the south, so it's going to allow for anything to the west of that cold, or west of that cold front, so where all that cold air advection is going to be in place, and that cold conveyor belt is going to be, we're going to be seeing a good chance for some light, fluffy snow across the Great Lakes here. Some good overall lake effect snow, and as well as some really good snow for the higher elevations. Going to be seeing some really good snow across Mount Washington, the Adirondacks, Burlington, all across New England. And that's going to kind of be staying there for basically much of Black Friday into Saturday. But here comes this main system here, the main storm we're talking about, moving in by Saturday. You're going to be seeing it's kind of going to be like a clipper pattern because that's where the main area of low pressure is going to be, and it's going to be a more front-sided, so all that is going to be staying to the north of that cold front. And it's going to kind of, once again, it's going to kind of go from the Great Lakes and then to the northeast. So we're going to be watching out for basically a clipper pattern. I wouldn't consider this a clipper as of now, but I would definitely consider it as a nor'easter in the end of its track, because by Sunday morning, going to be seeing some snow. So this is where a lot of this post-Thanksgiving travel is going to take place the day before school starts. So we're going to watch out for some, going to be watching out for some travel concerns for at least Friday morning for the areas of the Ohio Valley. Going to be watching out for some snow, lighter snow across Pennsylvania, including Pittsburgh, as well watching out for some snow across Cleveland, as well even across much of West Virginia. And as we now continue now to Sunday afternoon, this low pressure is now eventually going to make its way off the coast. And of course, it's cold front. It's going to be lagging basically along that line. So although this cold air is going to still stay on Friday afternoon across portions of probably going to get some snow as maybe as far south as Washington, D.C., as well watching out for some snow in Philadelphia. So we are going to watch out for some traveling concerns on Sunday. Saturday really won't be too shabby unless you obviously live in the upper Appalachian Mountains there near Maine, which obviously not many people do. But as we now go towards now Sunday night, this snow is now going to make its way in towards now Boston, making its way towards the New England area. That low pressure is now far off the coast, so that cold front is going to be basically right here. So the further off the coast this low pressure is going to be, the further east this snow is going to get. So we're going to watch out, according to the latest 12Z GFS, some decent snow. Very light snow, though, since it's going to be moving at a very quick rate. This snow is not going to have too much time to really saturate much. But as this low pressure does obviously start to obviously turn a little bit further to the northeast in its track, heading a little bit closer to Maine, we are going to be seeing some really heavy snow. A lot of that moisture is going to catch up, or this cold front is going to really catch up with that moisture. So as we continue, as this moisture catches up, we're going to be seeing some really heavy snow across New England, including there even eventually some really heavy snow, our heaviest snow of this storm across New England, so as well including Berlin, New Hampshire, and just overall upper New England. So we are watching out for the bullseye for the northeast coast and New England coast, unless you're in Maine and New Hampshire. Because this front's going to be moving so quickly, this cold front's not going to really make its time for this moisture, so it's not going to be as saturated, so we're not going to be seeing some really widespread heavy snow all across the Ohio Valley and as well portions of the lower northeast. But as eventually this cold front catches up with the moisture advection, we're going to be seeing some really heavy wet snow across the upper New England, at least according to the 12Z GFS. As I look at the European, though, same thing. You're going to be seeing that rain moving in. That front moving in, obviously, on Thanksgiving night to Friday morning across the east. Going to be seeing some light rain all across basically the Midwest later to tomorrow morning. And then as we look in towards Friday, obviously going to be seeing that lake effect snow and upper elevation snow across the northeast. But as we now go towards now looking at Sunday morning, going to be seeing that snow, of course, very light snow. Maybe some, the Europeans actually taking a pretty far south approach, getting some really good snow across Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., all across basically Maryland, including Chesapeake area, Annapolis, getting some snow as well for even Atlantic City. So the European is taking a pretty far southern approach, even including Dover, of course, now including much of Pennsylvania, but still rather light. And then eventually, as we now move towards Monday, if my this actually wants to move for me as we go towards Monday, this low pressure is going to be super far off the coast, so we're not going to be seeing too much snow on the European. It's going to be really just, this front's going to be moving way too quickly for this cold front to catch up on the European model. If we look now at the actual accumulations now, so obviously on the GFS, this is the latest, I believe this is the latest 12Z, yes it is, the latest 12Z, so again, this is kind of go all the way from the Great Lakes, now dipping to the south, and then acting like a nor'easter. And notice that snow really ramps up across New England, and that's because a lot of that snow is actually going to become really heavy snow and saturated, while across this general vicinity, it's going to be very light and fluffy snow. So basically, going to be using more of a, really more of a, I'd say 15-to-1 ratio. Why do you use it maybe around a 5-to-1 to around a 10-to-1 ratio? But you really want to use 5-to-1 ratios snowfall for nor'easters like this. But the GFS has, in the latest 12Z, has some snow all the way from basically Minnesota, very light snow, anywhere from really a trace to around 3 inches. Like I said, it's going to be very light all the way towards really really east, I say, east of Michigan, or east of Detroit, where it's going to really start to ramp up. Eventually, this cold front will start to catch up ever so slightly, but anything really west of Detroit, this is going to be seeing some light, fluffy snow, and it may even be less than this. It just really depends, but obviously this cold front's going to be extremely significant. We're going to be talking about some teens, and when we're talking about teens, we're going to be seeing some lighter, fluffy snow, but eventually you're going to be seeing the mid and upper 20s, and as well just below freezing across this area. So we are going to be watching out for some really compact snow. Watching out for anywhere from snow all across West Virginia all the way up towards Maine. Looking at the heavy snow will obviously be off Lake Erie and as well across upper New England. Going to be watching as high as probably 2 feet across much of New Hampshire, Vermont, and as well portions of Maine. Getting as well probably even some good snow now for even probably as well as even Philadelphia may get an inch. We may get probably as well a few inches for Scranton, as well some really good snow all across New York, especially the upstate areas, the Adirondacks. And as well, probably going to get some snow for the coastal northeast. As of this latest GFS run, it's a lot less significant for the coastal areas, not getting much snow for New York City and not getting much snow for Long Island, while in 60 and 0Zs, it has some pretty good snow for New York. And we're looking at the Cuchera since we're going to watch out for some interference within this snow. But getting as well decent snow for Boston, especially some really good snow for Worcester. But as we look at the European, like I said, is taking a pretty far south approach, and this will actually favor some very, very light snow. We will be seeing a lot more snow, though, if this low pressure wasn't moving so quickly, but going to be getting some really heavy snow all across really Great Lakes. Look at the Great Lakes here, getting some really significant snow. I mean, look at that. That is actually pretty significant snowfall. You can kind of tell we're going to basically get around some really good snow, but this is actually going to be after, so it's going to be after though, so we want to stop around here on Tuesday. Going to get around a few inches across the Great Lakes. Going to be seeing the highest point there across Michigan, going to be around a foot, but notice how the accumulations are far less here, only getting the heaviest snow in the even far New England near the Canadian border, and only getting maybe a trace or so, or a trace of maybe 3 inches across more of those closer, bigger cities and urban areas. And then the Canadian model, which is obviously also the CMC. If we now go towards, we want to stop on Tuesday, stop at Tuesday. Gonna be seeing a lot more snow across the Great Lakes. Gonna be seeing a lot more compact snow with this cold front catching up quite quickly. Gonna get really good snow across the Great Lakes, anywhere from maybe half a foot across upper Great Lakes to even nearly over a foot across Traverse City, across Marquette, and the upper Great Lakes region. As well, going to be seeing some really significant snow off Lake Erie and Lake Huron, and it's going to really just stay towards the north of all these urban areas, so not getting too much for New York City. So like I said, it's definitely going to have to be an issue for the coastal northeast area. It's going to definitely be a lot less certain than what we're talking about for the upper Great Lakes and as well for the upper northeast.